Sam, first of all, can we check the injury situation? First of all, take it Idrissa Gana Gueye had no reaction last week.
No, this is okay with a bit of reaction this week with Phil Jagielka, but he's okay. Trained yesterday, so he should be okay. We've still obviously got 3 long-term injuries out, which has been a bit of a problem all season, isn't it? When the amount of games that lots of players have missed, you wouldn't expect so many in one season, but we've had to cope with that fine, and obviously we're looking forward to Swansea now.
And Sigurdsson as well. Just is he progressing well?
Gylfi's just going to be touch or go whether he gets a game in before the end of the season. Obviously, all these players that can be missed at certain stages of the season, but you wouldn't expect them to be out as long as they're out, like you mean. So, losing probably those 3 players all the back half of this season has been something you wouldn't want to have to deal with, but we have to, and we're dealing with it very well at the moment.
It's something you touched on after the Merseyside derby, but have you spoken to Wayne Rooney this week after his reaction to being substituted? And how's that chat
we speak every week, so.
Well, I didn't expect you not to speak, with regard to specifics.
I think he said he had a really good game of golf this week as well, so yeah, we're all right, not a problem. And there's no problem with Yannick Bolasie, and there's no problem with Tom Davies, and there's no problem with Wayne Rooney. All 3 of those players, by the way, are substituted last week.
But is Wayne happy at the moment in terms of his role at the club?
Yeah, it's the role he wants to play. We've said many times, and I think that our tactical change was for the benefit of the team on Saturday. It's a team game, and you just make a decision on the day to try and help the team to get a victory, and we did that by 3 substitutions and played a game at the end of the derby by continuing to oppress Liverpool for the last 20 minutes and created the best 2 chances of the game we created in that, and really we were all very disappointed at the end that we didn't win it. So substitutions had an effect because the players like Yannick and Tom had done the job before that, but like every player, as the game goes on, that they get a little bit fatigued, so you put 3 fresh legs on, and that had a positive effect, I'm glad to say, because the last thing you want to do as a manager when you make a substitution is for it not to have a positive effect on the team, and those substitutions did, to the point where we nearly gave everybody one of the best weekends this season, but unfortunately just down to in the end our finishing we didn't manage to do that.
With Wayne, though, and when you see a reaction and his disappointment at being substituted, do you have to remind him of his responsibilities, or do you almost welcome a player being upset at substitution?
Of course, you're asking players to be angels again. Stop it. For God's sake. I mean, we live in a politically correct world as it is now. It'll be not so long ago where if somebody stamps the feet, we'll be saying you can't do that. A reaction from a player when he comes off of disappointment is to be expected. One would ask him not to do it in the public eye, but sometimes that can't be helped. And a man as proud of being an Everton fan as him and playing for Everton, that's where the reaction came from.
And as you mentioned, Yannick, he seemed to receive a bit of an adverse reaction from the crowd at times at Goodison last week.
I didn't hear it, so I see an adverse reaction from every crowd, and particularly if you do a pass wrong, there's a reaction negatively from the crowd. If you do a pass right, there's a positive reaction. And all I can remember is the roar of the Everton fans trying to suck the ball in the back of the net in the last 20 minutes. So we did a job on Liverpool by nullifying that outstanding attack, even though they changed the team around. Yes, they changed the team around. But you've still got to go and beat them, and by beating or having the chance to beat Liverpool, you stop their goal scoring prowess, and that's what we did. And then we ended up finishing the game the better and nearly won that game. It's just so disappointing because of how long it's been. 17 games, like you mean. So, for me, when you look at the derby this year, the derby away 1-1, and then the derby at home 0-0 in one season could have been a victory, or should have been a victory if we'd have been a bit better finishing. And So in the context of that, in a season that's been difficult for everybody, it's not so bad against our local rivals who are being praised, rightly so, for how brilliant that they are this season. But they haven't managed to beat us, and they've only scored one goal in the league against us when they've got the outstanding goal scoring abilities that they've got. And don't forget, in the cup they were very lucky to win in the last. Well, not very lucky. It was our fault on the header in the last minute in the FA Cup.
Where would you say Yannick is at, though? Have you got to be patient with him after that long-term injury?
So yeah, I mean, your cruciate ligaments is like many long-term injuries at a football club. Is when they come back, everybody expects them to be what they were before they got the injury, and while fit, it's sometimes a little bit longer for others than it is for. Takes a little bit longer for others than it does for other players, like you mean. So it's taken Yannick a little bit longer to get into his stride. On the reverse of that, he hasn't taken Seamus Coleman quite as long, So we have to just be patient and allow him to get back to his best. But the more he plays, the better he'll get.
With you effectively safe now, what are you looking at from your players between now?
Not to be complacent, not to switch off, and not to allow themselves to slip on the levels that they need to get to fight against the team against Swansea who are fighting relegation, because that's that you're meeting the team head on Saturday who are needing points to avoid the drop, and the crowd come to get behind them. So we have to be at our best against Swansea, and we have to continue to improve. We all know our difficulties this year haven't been at home, our difficulties have been away, and we have to try and put together a performance like we did at Stoke last time we were away. I hope the weather's not as bad, but we've got to get a result, and the home form and the home performances of having only lost to Manchester United and Man City, as much as I'd like to beat them, they're the two top teams in the Premier League. So home form has been fantastic, but we've just got to maintain away results now.
I suppose the bare minimum you're expecting from Swansea is maximum work rate, given, as you say, the position they're in the table.
Well, they had a good turnaround from a difficult position, and then we're facing the fact that they play at home and play a different system. There's not that many teams playing three at the back in the Premier League, so there's three at the back for Swansea, unless the manager changes it last minute. But that's been their regular shape recently. So we don't play that way. So there's a can our system be better than their system on the day? So that is our challenge, to make our system produce more than theirs, and really to go out and. I think try and score the first goal, because when that happens, then everything becomes very panicky and nervous in that position, as you all know. I've been in that position before, many times in recent years, and if you lose the first goal when you're fighting down that bottom end, it's very difficult to come back from that.
The fact that they've got a fighting chance of escaping relegation, how much credit does Carvalhal take after coming in as manager?
Done great. I think that he's. In terms of his initial impact, like we all want to have, like I had and many managers have had, that's it. It's whether you can maintain it or not. That's the factor. We've continued to pick up points, so we've not got involved in that relegation battle, which is what happened when I first arrived. All the talk about was relegation. We're fighting relegation, and very quickly the players turned that around to how far can we finish? Can we get into Europe? We've struggled to maybe get to that far, but we've certainly put ourselves in a position to finish strongly this season with the last 5 games, and try and get as many wins as we can.
Sam, as you say, it's been a difficult season. What, in your opinion, needs to happen now in the summer? How much work needs doing with this squad?
I think our difficulties have come in many different angles, and that will be something that you would look at the end of the season and assess and evolve. And it's who are we going to move on, who are we going to keep, can we move them on, who are we going to recruit, and pre-season for everybody. At the start of pre-season, how many players can we have at the start of pre-season that will develop themselves from the start of pre-season to the start of the season to hit the ground running? And I think that disruption, or all of those disruptions, was a big problem for Everton at the start of last season, right from the start, with players in and out, and Europa qualifiers in early July, and the amount of games that have been played. Long-term injuries have played a major part, and I think there was 9 injuries when I got here, and still major injuries of long-term injuries you wouldn't want to have, and I think all those difficulties have contributed to a difficult season for everybody. But we've released ourselves from those pressures, and we've playing for as many points as we can possibly get now to finish the season as high as we can, and then I think fans who have supported us and who have gone out and already spent the money on new season tickets at I believe a record level, shows that they're all looking forward to next season, and hopefully we can deliver more.
Has there got to be investment in the squad though if you're going to have a better season?
Just depends on how much money is available when we speak to the board, and then it depends on who we sell, because I think there's no doubt at 38 professionals it's too many, so I think we need to lessen that number of players and reduce it to 25, 26, 27, and try and get better quality. I think that in terms of rather than quantity, we want quality a bit more in certain areas, and we've got to give great praise to our young players, who we have played more than anybody else in the Premier League, under 23 and under. We've ramped up numerous games for young players who nobody else has even tried to even get anywhere near, even Benny Beningame recently coming on. And they've had a fantastic experience in the hope that they will be even improve next season in what they've done. So you've got Joe Kenny, Mason Holgate, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Benny Beningame, Tom Davis, all with all that experience of highs and lows that will stand them in good stead to become even better players next season.
Okay, guys. Thank you.